Hello everyone, and welcome to Godsaw's Turnbuckle, the wrestling video podcast I run over here on youtube.com/Godsaw. It's been a little while since we've done anything like this. Matter of fact, probably the last time I've really done anything in the terms of the podcast side has been since, well, probably WrestleMania. I have been taking a little bit of a break from it, but we are going to get back into things here with a special edition, which is going to be Money in the Bank predictions. I know I stumbled over my words there. We're going to leave that in there just for the sake of having some fun with it. And of course, Money in the Bank is this Sunday, and we are going to go through and try to predict who I feel like are going to be the winners of the matches on the show. How right will I be? Well, usually I'm wrong in many facets, but we'll give it a go anyway. So we're going to go ahead and start it off with the kickoff show, which is going to be Daniel Bryan and Eric Rowan, or just Rowan now, going up against the Usos. It is unclear whether or not this is for the SmackDown Tag Team titles or if it's just a match. It's really unclear on that one. So I'm going to go with the factor that it is the SmackDown Tag Team titles that are on the line on this one, because it would be really weird to have them not defend the tag team titles in some way, shape, or form, and just be on the show in a tag match. But it'll be, I guess it is what it is. I'm going to go with that factor, and I'm going to go with Daniel Bryan and Rowan picking up the victory in that one. Not really much to say. Obviously, if the SmackDown Tag Team titles don't end up being on the line, more than likely the Usos will go over to, well, basically get their win back and do some 50-50 booking there. But it'll be interesting to see what that one plays out with. I'm going to go with the factors of Daniel Bryan and Rowan picking up the victory here, because I feel like their tag team titles are going to be on the line in this match. So we go into the main card, and lo and behold, look what's on the main card this time, everybody. It's the Cruiserweight title. It is Tony Nese going up against Ariya Daivari. Tony Nese picking up the Cruiserweight title over Buddy Murphy at WrestleMania, defended it against them on the next 205 Live, and Ariya Daivari has been kind of being built up into a contender over this period of time as well, kind of playing a little bit of a more smart-esque heel where he's kind of staying away from things, staying away from matches, everything to go along with that. Obviously doing enough matches to get number one contendership, but as seen on 205 Live, you know, Buddy Murphy had to have a match, or not Buddy Murphy, but Tony Nese had to have a match, while Ariya Daivari was just chilling, not doing anything. And I don't see Tony Nese losing this Cruiserweight title this quickly. Usually with the Cruiserweight title side, they don't really switch the belts that often. So I'm going to go with a factor of Tony Nese keeping the Cruiserweight title and winning this match. And on to keeping up with the titles here, which we are going to have a lot of different title matches. We're going to have Samoa Joe going up against Rey Mysterio for the United States title. And this is going to be an interesting one. At WrestleMania, Samoa Joe beat Rey Mysterio in about a minute. Yeah, just about a minute. So later down, a few weeks later, Rey Mysterio picked up the victory. Like I mentioned before, 50-50 booking. He did pick up a victory in a non-title match where Dominic came out and celebrated with him, and now Samoa Joe has kind of been having his eye not just on Rey Mysterio but on Dominic as well, who is playing a little bit more of a role into this feud, will more than likely play some kind of hand into this match. I feel like it's going to be having Rey Mysterio end out losing the match, and having Samoa Joe keep the United States title. So I'm going to go with Samoa Joe in this particular match. It'll be interesting to see what the role ends out being. I imagine it'll be some kind of distraction, not a purposeful distraction where, say, Dominic turns heel or something like that, but something that will cause Rey to lose his focus on the match, and then lo and behold, Samoa Joe picks up the victory. So we are going to go into our first of two matches for Becky Lynch. It's going to be Becky Lynch going up against Lacey Evans, defending the Raw Women's title up against Lacey Evans. I don't see Lacey Evans picking up the victory in this one. And it's not a whole aspect of It's not the whole aspect of her not like her standing tall on the go home show that makes me think that they are going to actually have Becky Lynch go over. But if they are going to have her lose a title at this point, I don't see it being the Raw one. And it'll be an interesting show based upon what they decide to do with everything here. But I don't see Becky Lynch losing to Lacey Evans, so I am going to go with Becky Lynch in this match. So up next, we've got The Miz going up against Shane McMahon inside of a steel cage. Again, I feel like this may be the culmination of this feud before Shane McMahon, I think, focuses even more on Roman Reigns at that point. That's why Elias has kind of been a buffer. So I see The Miz going over in this one. And I see him definitely going over in this match and getting a bit of retribution for what Shane McMahon did to him at WrestleMania and to his father at WrestleMania as well, and basically everything they had done in between to go along with it. It's been an interesting new side of Miz where he's kind of playing a little bit more of a badass versus the cowardly heel to go along with it, and he's actually played it off quite well, so it's been very interesting. So up next, we are going to actually go to another match that will more than likely have Shane McMahon involved if it's done early in the show versus later in the show. It depends, I guess, when this steel cage match happens. But up next, we will go with Roman Reigns going up against Elias. I don't see Elias picking up the victory here, though I see a decent amount of shenanigans happening. If there's a match or two on this card that will end in some kind of disqualification, I would imagine it being this particular match. In this one, but I see Roman Reigns going over, whether he goes over based off of a bunch of shenanigans or a DQ or shenanigans and wins clean or just wins clean in the match itself. I see Roman Reigns going over in this match, and I don't see any other particular reason why Elias would end up winning, unless they're going to have Elias end up winning to further a feud with Roman and the McMahons in some way, shape, or form, where Vince is not necessarily going to be in a match, but more than likely Shane will be the surrogate for that at that point in time. But I think Roman Reigns is going to go over in this match. So let's go ahead to the two Money in the Bank ladder matches. Let's start off with the women's Money in the Bank ladder match. This has been an interesting one based off of a lot of news that have been coming out today on that. I may talk about all of it to go along with in a different video. But in this particular one, it has been announced earlier today that Alexa Bliss is officially out of this match. So it's no longer Alexa Bliss in there. It's now going to be Nikki Cross. It is going to be. Let's start that over. Let's see if I can get this in hopefully just a couple of goes. So it's going to be Nikki Cross, Dana Brooke, Natalya, Naomi. Over on the SmackDown side, it's going to be Carmella, Ember Moon, and Mandy Rose and Bayley. This is going to be an interesting match, and it's really hard to call. I really only have two people that I think would probably win this right now, based off of where they are. Based off of anything in general. And I guess it kind of depends on what they'd want to do with this show to go along with it. I'm gonna go with Bayley to win this one, though I could easily see Mandy Rose being the one that picks this up. They kind of played it off last year that same way, and now Mandy Rose is kind of the only heel in the match itself, so it kind of plays into that. But I'm thinking that they're gonna stick with Bayley. I'm thinking I won't say stick with Bayley because it hasn't been really obvious that she would probably be the winner of it. But I'm going to go with Bayley in this one. Tentative. Well, I can't say tentatively. I'm going to make this kind of more definitive that I'm going with Bayley. But I could easily see this being Mandy Rose. I don't feel like Nikki Cross would probably end up picking up the victory, though she is kind of a replacement. It's one of those things that sometimes the replacement ends out picking up the victory. And I guess they could play some kind of thing with that if Alexa Bliss gets medically cleared again, because she is not medically cleared to be in the match. That's why they have her being replaced. And I guess that was one of the reasons why they had her replaced on Raw as well in the Fatal 4-Way to go along with it. But I am going to stick with Bayley on this one. It'll be interesting to see what they decide to do. I have my thoughts on what they're going to do for the show. I will go into that once we get to those portions of the show. But first off, we'll go with the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. That is going to be, let's see if I can remember this one. It's going to be Drew McIntyre, Baron Corbin, Sami Zayn, Ricochet, Finn Balor, Randy Orton, Mustafa Ali, and Andrade Cien Almas. Yes, I put their full names in there on that one. And what do you know? I got it in one go. On this one. Sami Zayn obviously replacing Braun Strowman after the Falls Count Anywhere match. I don't see him winning. Based off of a lot of other factors, I don't see Ricochet winning, especially with him picking up the actually pulling down the briefcase on Tuesday. I don't see him winning. Baron Corbin, I don't necessarily see winning on this one, and I was thinking Andrade may potentially win, but I don't think so after Tuesday. Not 100% certain on that one. The one person that I feel like, and they could go a completely different route, but the one person I feel like is primed to win this match, and I'm going to make him my pick in this match, is going to be Drew McIntyre. It just seems to fit. It just seems to fit. I'm not even going to play it off of rumors or anything to go along with it. Just based off how they've been building and going into the match, everything in general, it just seems to fit for Drew McIntyre to pick that victory up and maybe do a cash in at some point in time. Will it be that night? Like I said, I'll give my opinions on that with the last two matches to go along with it. But before we get to those last two matches, I'm going to go with the WWE title match. It's going to be Kofi Kingston going up against Kevin Owens. This has been actually a very good build-up going into this match, and I have to say I've been thoroughly enjoying this one. I like the whole aspect of the fun-loving side of Kofi Kingston, where he's still doing his entrances, he's still doing all the things with the pancakes, everything on that one, but once he gets behind the microphone, it's all seriousness and everything, and more seriousness to the ring, to his in-ring work. He's had very good matches and strong build going into this as well, where he defended the title against Daniel Bryan in a rematch, and then he also defeated AJ Styles and Sami Zayn in a triple threat match. It could lead to believe that maybe Kevin Owens is going to pick up the victory on this one, and I could honestly see that, but I feel like the aspect of Sami Zayn coming back into this in some way, shape, or form will maybe negate that. He may not go through a whole bunch of punishment and not win the match in the Money in the Bank ladder match, but he may make his presence felt here. Whether it ends out helping Kevin Owens win or not, it'll be how they be determined. But more than likely, I see it ending with Kofi Kingston keeping that WWE title and honestly winning the match in some way, shape, or form. They've been playing off this whole aspect of maybe Kofi can't do it by himself, so maybe he does end up doing it by himself in this match. I don't know. Or maybe they still have Xavier Woods come out and help out because Sami Zayn comes out, and then lo and behold, you still have the feud going on because Kevin Owens is like, well, you didn't do it by yourself, so they keep it going on that one. But I feel like Kofi Kingston is going to pick up the victory and keep the WWE title here. I don't feel like they're going to take that title off him quite yet, though. I could see it honestly happening because they have given him credible wins with Daniel Bryan in that triple threat match where he defended the WWE title. But I don't see it necessarily coming off him quite yet. I feel like they're still kind of playing off of the factor that Kofi Kingston is widely beloved, and I don't see them taking that title off him quite yet. So this brings us to the last two matches of the night. The first one we'll go through is going to be Seth Rollins going up against AJ Styles for the Universal title. Not much really to talk about on this one. I don't feel like they're going to have Seth Rollins lose this title quite yet. And yes, that means I don't feel like a Money in the Bank cash-in is going to happen through the men's side on that one. I feel like Seth Rollins will pick up the victory here. Their build has actually been quite good with this whole, it was about respect, but now they're kind of disrespecting each other. I love the factor of the video footage from their first match back in the Indies was played. Just things like that and what they've been setting up in this particular match, I think has been actually quite good. Now, what will the match be like? A lot of people are having some high hopes for this match. I'm going in with this match on a neutral feeling to see what they're going to go with. I feel like they could give this match a good chunk of time, and it could be an instant classic. Or they could just kind of like, this is going to be the first of many matches, and they may not give away everything right off the bat. We'll see how they end up playing out with that one. But I feel like Seth Rollins goes over in this match, and AJ Styles does not necessarily pick up the Universal title, though I guess he could at some point in time. I just don't see it happening here. So this brings us to the last match that I have for the night, which is going to be Becky Lynch going up against Charlotte for the SmackDown Women's title. Now, this is going to be the interesting one. A lot of people feel like Becky is going to be losing a belt on this show. And honestly, I could see why. I could honestly see why on those particular ones. Because, you know, they're playing off of that. It's like, okay, you have one person with the Raw and the SmackDown Women's title. They got to defend both of them. Everything that go along with that. I don't think that's going to be the case here. I think they're going to cement kind of a legacy of this title reign on one show where she defends both belts and holds on to both of them. I'm going to go with Becky here. This is kind of a culmination of the entire feud of Becky and Charlotte. I don't imagine them going with another match anytime soon. Obviously, I expect them to have some kind of match down the line, because I feel like this feud is one of those feuds, especially in the women's division, that could just basically go on for as long as they really want it to. They can come back to it at any given point in time and probably get a really good match out of it. But I feel like this is going to be the last one for quite some time on that. So I actually feel like they're going to have Becky go over here, and they're going to cement kind of this legacy of the title. Of her being the whole Becky two belts thing, where they are going to probably get that. I feel like it's going to be the SmackDown Women's title they get off of Becky first at some point, but I don't see it being on this show. Could be completely wrong on that one, by the way, but you never know on that one. I feel like they're going to go that route, and yes, I'm calling for Money in the Bank to not be cashed in on that one. I don't feel like they're going to cash it in this time. They could go that route, and they could definitely go a whole route, especially if they decide to go with Bayley in that one. They could go the route of her turning completely heel. They could have her be a reluctant cash in, but realizes the opportunity that's at hand and decides to cash it in. Or they could just not have her cash the contract in and have it be done at a different time on that one. I feel like that's the route that they're going to go. I don't see a cash-in happening at this point, which is going to be a little bit weird. And I kind of feel that way whether or not any of the women end up picking up that contract. I just don't see it happening quite yet. Again, could be completely wrong on that one, but that is the route I am going to go. And those are my predictions for Money in the Bank coming up this Sunday. I hope you guys enjoyed everything. We're going to try to get back into the swing of things and maybe doing Godsall's Turnbuckle on a weekly basis again. And yeah, it should be a lot of fun. We'll see what we get on Sunday. More than likely, I will be doing a review, hopefully Sunday night after the show, but we'll see how that ends up playing out, and we'll see where everything goes from there. So with that being said, I thank you guys for watching, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your evening. Take care, everyone.